So you're thinking about buying a 2026 Model S Plaid, or any year Model S Plaid for that matter. Something that you're gonna need to do pretty much as soon as you get the car is addressing the rear negative camber issue, which we'll actually hop out and take a look at. This issue is also known as the tire wear issue. Essentially, the rear tire is tilted inward, thus causing the inside part of the tire to wear at an accelerated rate. It's not as bad if you have the 19s, but if you have the 21s, like I have here, then this is something that you should be looking to get fixed within the first few thousand miles. If you don't and you just leave it, especially if you have a Plaid where, you know, hard acceleration is kind of the name of the game, are only gonna last you, I've seen 5 to 10,000 mile range. And considering that these from the factory are delivered actually on a wheel that I really like, the PS4Ss, Pilot Sport 4Ss here. It's a great tire, in my opinion, one of the best that you can have, especially on a car like this, 1,000 horsepower. But that means that they are very, very expensive and something that you probably don't want to be replacing every 5 to 10,000 miles. Like I believe on this car here with the staggered setup, 295s in the back and 265s in the front, you're looking at like $700 a pop per tire. Now you really have two options to fix this: a budget-friendly kind of a Band-Aid option and a not so budget-friendly, but not like super overpriced in comparison to, you know, what you spend on one of these cars, even if you are buying used, option that is considered a proper fix for this issue. Shims will run you about $100, assuming you're not getting the like Tesla taxed ones, which you totally shouldn't get. I've seen some shims for like $500+. You should really be looking at spending about $100. And while I did call it a Band-Aid solution, from what I've seen, it actually does like permanently fix the issue. I've seen people that have put these shims on and all of a sudden they're getting 3 to 5 times the miles out of their tires that they were getting. The only thing is that, of course, it's a set amount, so you got to buy different shims depending on like what wheel setup you're running. Adjustable camber arms, on the other hand, will run you about $1,500 and are the like proper fix. And as the name implies, it can be adjusted so it can work with whatever wheel you have, whatever setup you're running with. Or if you want, you know, different settings depending if you're just daily driving the car, if you're going to the track. I wouldn't consider this a build quality or QA issue with my car specifically, just a design flaw. I'm currently at about 1,500 miles in this car, a little over, and I'm looking at getting this fixed within the next few weeks. I already have the parts and everything, just need to get them installed. But I just kind of wanted to mention that. Like I said, this isn't a QA or build quality issue, but what about QA and build quality with this car? Well, as you all know, I did have a few things from delivery and I did have a service appointment. And I say I did because, well, now I've had said service appointment. So let's rewind, go back to the day of my service appointment, talk about everything that's wrong with the car before taking it into them, what was on my service ticket, then go to service, and then pick back up from there and see what they fixed, see what they didn't fix, and what I'm actually having to fix myself. Also, something I want to mention is that, you know, I'm not trying to push any particular narrative here. These type of videos always kind of bring out the crazies in the comments section. On one side, you have the like mega super hard Tesla fanboys that even if your car like blew up, like right as soon as you drove it off the lot, they tell you that you're nitpicking. And then on the flip side, you have the like anti-EV, anti-Tesla, hate Elon Musk crowd that come in and like they try to sympathize with you. Like, oh, that's, you know, no car should ever look like that or have any issues at delivery when it's brand new. And this is why I'll never buy an electric car and I hate Elon Musk and Tesla. It's like, well, I appreciate the first half of the comment, but that's not at all what I'm trying to get at here. Preference the video by saying that I do run a Tesla channel, so I like inherently want Tesla to succeed, but at the same time, I want to document my own experience and just share honest feedback. All right, appointment is set for 2:30 p.m. It's currently 12:53. It takes me about an hour to get there, so I got like 15 minutes to record this. And of course, pulled out the camera and in come the clouds. So in terms of what I'm getting serviced, here's everything that you can take a look for yourself that we're about to go over. I did have, the reason these are listed under service activities because I had these added like a few weeks back. I've been waiting almost a month for this appointment. Because we're on the inside of the car, let's go ahead and let's just start with the interior. Right there, I stated that there was a wrinkle in the dash, as you can see right here. Actually, I don't think I would have noticed this had this not been kind of sticking out. You can kind of see when I push in here. Because if you look over here, this side's like, this doesn't move at all. Where this one right here has some play in it. Hopping out and swinging around to the rear, this is another right here up. It's maybe a little bit hard to capture on this lens. You can kind of see right here, this has a lot of play to it. I don't know if this is like something that's quote unquote within spec, but you can see right here when I push on it, it has play. I can actually pull it down. You can look up underneath of there. Something tells me that this is just within spec, and when they get it, I'm gonna get it back and it's gonna be the exact same way. So maybe you'll be able to get a better view from this angle. But next up on the service is well, they have it listed under headlight and tail light, but in reality, it's more so trunk latch not being aligned. So you can see on this side right here, the tail light is pretty much perfect. Actually, let me get in and turn the lights on so it's a little bit easier to see. So as you can see, this one is pretty much perfect. Like, this is what I would consider within spec, right? It may not be exactly perfect, but from, I mean, looking right here, it looks pretty much perfect. But then you swap over to this side, and yeah, I don't think, like, when you can just obviously tell that this is not aligned. I'm thinking that it's because the power lift arm is right here. The two-piece taillight design was always a little bit off because of the power arm. It just, there just was a bigger gap always on that side. So I'm hoping that maybe they just kind of tighten this up on this side here and it'll align it. As for this right here, I showed in my, what's new and why I upgraded video with an actual like panel gap tester, but you can pretty clearly see that the front fender, how tight that is with the headlight. And then you come over here and I mean, you can just immediately see the huge gap right there. And then it gets tighter as you go back. So maybe it's a combination between the hood needs tightened plus the headlight may need to be shifted up a little bit, or maybe they need to also tighten the front of this fender. Next up is the door. It just creaks when you kind of, yeah, it definitely has seemed like it's went away for the most part. It's like creaking. And then the front hood does not unlatch when you initially push to open the front trunk. So here, I'll actually do it on the screen here, and you'll see that when I go up here, open front. All right, so it shows it's been opened. And then when I go up to the front, it does not open. So like I'm pulling, it's like it's stuck on something. The latch just hasn't fully let go. Try to reopen it again, you'll see. So right there, I just reheard the latch, and coming up here to the front, pull it. Okay, so now it's come open. A lot of the time what'll happen is that I need to get the app out and be holding it, like pulling up as I undo the front trunk. And then lastly has to do with the yoke and driving at higher speeds. Around 75 to 85, the yoke vibrates really, really bad. I get a lot of feedback through the pedals as well. I was kind of looking up people with similar symptoms, and something that I found that fixed a lot of people's vibrations at that 80-ish mile per hour mark was road force balancing. So I've asked them to do that, and I'm gonna see if maybe that fixes it, or maybe it's something else that they can fix. There we go, 85. You can really see it start shaking now. Look at that. Well, it's wanting to get over. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can really, and I mean, the road's not bad. I mean, there's a few bumps in it here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty smooth. I mean, plus I drive this road all the time in my 3. There's zero feedback like this through the wheel. And I mean, you can just watch it shake. And when you put your hand on it, I mean, it's like holding like one of those massage guns. Yeah, this is really bad, especially going downhill right here. Look at this. I let go of the wheel. I mean, it is shaking like crazy. All right, so they actually ended up giving me a Model S, and it's a new one too. And someone's already destroyed this wheel down here on this side. Well, I know you can't tell unless I have. Now you can see it. The steering wheel, honestly, this feels thinner than I initially thought it was gonna be, but it feels around the same thickness as my 3 steering wheel. The buttons, this is what I was hoping for. I was hoping that because they updated the camera button on the round steering wheel. On the yoke, it's still the like old looking one. I was hoping that they made the buttons the same as the 3, but no, they're still very much touch capacitive, which is kind of a bummer. This definitely does block my view a little bit. It may not be the same in my S, just because I think the X sits a little bit higher. But yeah, so it kind of does cut off. This right here is kind of eye level, right? So it's not bad, like you can still see everything, but it kind of does cut off a little bit of the top. Yeah, for right now, I think I'm gonna stick with the yoke, but they were super cool. I was like, hey, I'm not being given a loaner. They said that they're gonna be able to get it done today. And I was like, but I need to go do something real quick, like 10 minutes away. And they're like, yeah, that's fine, here, you can take the X. They didn't even put it in my account or anything. They literally just handed me the key and told me to go. All right, so service visit done, and in Tesla fashion, they didn't fix everything, so I had to set up another service visit. I actually recently saw that Kyle Connor recently moved back to the East Coast, and I saw that he had to go into service with his Plaid and said literally the exact same thing. Went in, of course they didn't fix everything, so now he has to go back in. And keep in mind, you know, I had to wait a month plus for this service visit. Thankfully though, I'm not having to wait another month plus. They're actually getting me back in next week, but I'll talk about that in just a second. So as we go around and discuss all of the things that I went into service for, I'm also going to read what the service tech wrote down in my invoice. All right, so I went ahead and I've turned on the lights here again for you to see. So left side, I would consider this within spec. Like I mentioned prior, it's not perfect if you look real close, but within spec, like just when you're glancing by, you can't even tell. Right side, I do think that like just driving around like at night, you don't really notice it, but you get up close to it, you can definitely tell that no, it's not aligned. The hatch is still, the part on the hatch is still a little bit higher up. It's actually funny, I recently saw where they had the new Plaids on Jay Leno's channel with Lars and Franz. One of the top comments is, wait, is the right side, is it misaligned? And yeah, I've not seen a 2026 refreshed, even as far back as 2021, the right side is almost always misaligned. And by almost, I mean always. It's all because the power arm is right here, which causes it to sit slightly higher, in case you're curious. So they were able to move it down a little bit. It doesn't look as bad. I wouldn't consider this within spec. I would personally get it a little bit tighter, but I'll talk about why I didn't, because they asked me if I wanted them to try to get it even tighter. There was kind of a con to it though, but first let's take a look at the front headlight. And I don't know if they're on. Okay, yeah, so the running lights are on. Man, I've come around on this car so much, but that's for next week's video, the 2,000 mile review, little update. I actually did forget to bring my panel gap tester. I don't think it's a headlight issue. I think it's a quarter panel issue that I don't know, maybe, I'm not too sure, but you can see here, they weren't able to do much with it, right? It's still a pretty big gap. Like, look, that's my pinky sliding in, super easy. I'm not trying to compress it or anything, like trying to make my pinky like thinner to slide in. No, it just slides in so easy. Come over here to this side. Nope, cannot. I can't even get, like, I can barely get the tip of my pinky in, right? Just the tip. Now in day-to-day, you can't tell, but I know it's there. The service tech, and this is not me talking bad about my service center. In fact, I really enjoy everyone at my service center. They're great to talk to, very knowledgeable, and very upfront. The service tech was straight up like, hey, if you want us to keep adjusting this, the only thing is we're gonna have to start loosening up everything else. And he was like, and looking at this car looks really tight. Like all the other panels, quote unquote, panel gaps, all that. I mean, you all can see for yourself, excluding this, you know, front headlight up here. So I was like, no, man, just leave it. That's fine with me. This car is kind of weird because you have the rear light and you have the front light, but then everything else is like really tight. Like nothing makes any noise. The interior, I've actually had people ask, and the reason I haven't really talked about it is because it's dead quiet, literally dead quiet. Like there's no rattles, there's no shifting of materials, there's nothing. In fact, the headliner is some of the tightest headliner that I've ever seen in a Tesla. In fact, when I tried to put up sunshades, I couldn't because of how tight the headliner is. But then you have this top piece here. Remember I mentioned this, they pretty much said it was within spec. Like this is within spec. If you have a Model S and yours does not kind of have this like little gap up here at the top in the headliner, please let me know. But according to them, this is within spec. I feel like that they updated the process to put the cars together better with this 2026, because a lot of issues I saw like the 2024s and 2025s having, because I was kind of looking at recent delivery videos and build quality stuff to be prepared for what I was in for. And a lot of the problems that they mentioned are not true with this. But then you have like these just glaring issues you would think would be caught, especially if they're, you know, the tolerances for everything else are so tight. Then you just have these random glaring issues, right? Gap here, rear tail light, rear headliner, you know, kind of drooping a little bit. So yeah, I don't know, but I wanted to mention that. Now, as for this door right here, mentioned that the squeaking had went away. They took a look at it just to double check. They said they couldn't replicate the issue. I can't replicate it anymore. I guess it was just one of those things, needed a little bit of break-in period. As for the front trunk, and yes, you may be wondering, wait, this kind of looks a little bit different. You know, it's a little bit more cloudy. The clip that you saw of me in the trunk talking about how I needed a second service visit, this is actually being shot the day of my second service visit, right after the service visit. So the front trunk, they originally fixed, but it kept happening. It wouldn't pop. In fact, when I was filming that the last clip, you'll see right here, I actually stood in front of it and it did the beep, 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 and I didn't know that hands-free front trunk was a thing. I've never seen my 3 do that. I don't know if it's on my 3. The lady has pretty much stolen the 3 at this point. But yeah, no, so come up here, opens right up. And whenever I'd go to put this down, it would squeak really, really loud. What is that noise? Is that a bird? When I would go to push this down, it squeaked like crazy bad. There's like this creaking sound, but now it's nothing. It's just like, I'll actually use this in public now. I also got the little key fob that lets you open the front trunk now, which is really nice. It originally worked like 2 or 3 times when they first fixed it, and then it went back to being stuck. I've opened it now like 10 times and it's nothing. And along with the no more squeaking, which I didn't even mention that to them. Now, the reason I had to go back in for a second service visit is because, and I'll talk about my only 2 complaints I have with service just a second, was this piece right here. When I originally went in, they didn't have this piece in stock. Why did I wait a month and send pictures if they weren't gonna have it in stock and I had to go back in? Like I said, I'll talk about that in just a second. Seems good, looks good. It's actually crazy. I was watching like some of the early Palladium delivery videos back in like 2021. I was watching ones from 2021 where they go around, they'd push on all the interior and everything would creak and make noise and shift. And I mean, this thing is just dead quiet. Like I push on literally everything. Like the only thing that moves is, you know, these right here because they move in and out. But everything is just so rock solid. I don't want to pull on the screen, but. And then the final thing on the ticket was the steering wheel vibration. In reality, like I mentioned, I think it's more of a wheel balance issue. They weren't able to do anything about it, which, you know, the fact that I understand legality, they can't do above the speed limit, but you would think with them selling a 1,000 horsepower car, they would have something. I mean, I'm not asking for them to have a dyno, right? But they'd have something to where they can make sure the car that you're buying to go fast in can go fast without any weird, you know, little issues. And yeah, they weren't able to do anything. It still occurs. It's literally between 80 and 90. If I'm doing 100, 110, 100, 130 in Mexico, nothing, right? I mean, what a car would feel like doing that speed, but there's no weird vibration. It's between 80 and 90, just this really weird vibration. I can feel it through the pedals and everything. The second I get up to like 90, 95, it fades away. Yeah, so they weren't able to do anything. I would have liked for them to have at least been willing to get in the car with me and let me do it, but they also said no to that. And then maybe they could like validate it and then let me go fix it, take it to somewhere with a road force balancing because they didn't have one. They just had a normal balancing machine. Let me go fix it, and then they reimburse me the money to get it fixed because it's a brand new car and I paid an extra like $4.5K for these wheels. So yeah. But hey, Tesla, if you're watching this and you would like to do the right thing and send me a check to get these road force balanced, I'll gladly take the money. I don't think this has been a negative video per se, more so just me giving honest feedback. You know, just for people that are wondering, you know, don't want to end off on like a negative note, I guess. A little spoiler for next week's video. Yeah, I've been loving the car. Like I said, I'm 2,000 miles in. It's everything that I've wanted in terms of just wanting a bigger, faster 3. And the car has delivered on that. I've very much has lived up to my expectations. As for service feedback, I already briefly mentioned the first thing, which was like I had this appointment set up for a month. It was around about a month. And I got there, and keep in mind I submitted pictures, videos. I work with a camera for a living, so it's not like I sent, you know, super blurry stuff. I submitted everything that they could possibly need to know exactly what needed to be replaced, and I get there and they were out of stock, so I had to like come back in. I thought that was a little weird. I'm not sure if they're like not looking at tickets until a few days out. I don't know, but that was a little annoying. I mean, I later found out that I was gonna have to go back in for the front trunk still not unlatching, but nonetheless. And then secondly is just service wait times here on the East Coast. From my understanding, the West Coast, you get in, like I've seen some people report that they get in like same day. Here on the East Coast though, it's a completely different story. You're waiting anytime as of like the past like 2 or 3 years, you're waiting 3 to 5 weeks minimum to get in. Unless it's, I guess, like a follow-up, kind of like how mine was. I can only assume that's how they got me back in so quick. It was like a follow-up, so they were able to schedule me and it wasn't anything super big. But nonetheless, those service wait times here on the East Coast really need to improve. Honestly, I was expecting more issues than what I've had. I spoke to quite a few 2021 and up refresh Palladium S and X owners that also own new 3 and now new Y. I actually know a lot of them that are trading in their S and X for new 3 and new Y just because new 3 and new Y have come such a long way. They all pretty much said the same thing. Yeah, I just had more issues with my S and X. I don't know if it's because they're more complex cars to put together. I don't know. You would think them being more expensive, the quality control and everything would be like a little bit stricter, but I mean, it's Tesla. They don't even give discounts to employees. I guess they just treat all cars equally, whether it's a $30,000 Model 3 or a now $120,000 Model S Plaid. I'm honestly just thrilled with the fact that I didn't have to spend $250,000 to get a 1,000 horsepower 4-door EV sedan new, right? Because the only 2 other cars that offer what this car offered, the Lucid Sapphire and the Taycan Turbo GT, are both $250,000. So I mean, I will gladly take, and maybe I'm jaded, I don't know, you can tell me if this is crazy thought, you know, I'll gladly take my taillight being a few millimeters misaligned and the rear of the headliner hanging down a little bit, which like I said, you can't notice unless you're looking for it. Like I've had tons of people in the back seats and they haven't noticed it. I'll gladly take those 2 or 3 things and save $150,000 plus. I mean, I got this car for $85,000 after like all the Tesla referrals, the lease loophole, buying it out day 1 and doing all that. So I mean, I got this car for $85,000, so $165,000 saved. I'll gladly take a few millimeters off and save $160+ grand. But yeah, that's everything that is wrong with my 1,000 horsepower missile. Let me know your all's thoughts. If you are new around here and you want to see more Tesla related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe. Like I said, next week is my 2,000 mile update review of this car. This video was supposed to go out last week. I'm actually kind of glad I waited for them to fix the front trunk, or else this video would have been a little bit more negative. And I was also able to upload the Model Y Performance reaction last week. If you haven't seen that and you're curious, someone that owns a Model 3 Performance, a new one, now owns a Model S Plaid, is planning on getting a Model Y Performance, you want to see my reaction, you go check out that video. I have it linked like right here. I actually don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction. Yeah, I'll see you on the next one.